Hello everybody, this is Cap here with the 18th video in my beginner C++ tutorial series. So this is going to be another concepts video over inheritance. So let's just go ahead and get started. So the general idea of inheritance is kind of based on, I guess you could say, the real world idea of you inheriting from your parents. You can inherit their eye color, hair color, and all sorts of stuff. Well, you can kind of think of inheritance in object-oriented programming languages as just like that. Except you get to deliberately choose what's inherited, of course. So, instead of in car and truck and motorcycle and all these other classes that are vehicles have, a few of the same attributes and methods. They all have a number of wheels, they all have a top speed, they all have a number of gears, and that kind of thing. So, instead of going through and tediously including those data members and methods inside of each class, we can just put them all in a base class called vehicle, and then have all of our car, truck, motorcycle, tractor classes inherit from vehicle. So inheritance can really make your life a lot easier and greatly reduce the amount of code that you have to write. So you guys are probably getting pretty used to seeing this. The rules of inheritance, I'm just going over it for anyone who hasn't seen my previous videos. Protected members are inherited and can only be accessed by the base class and the derived class. Private members are accessed by the class that it is declared in and no one else. That's not necessarily true, because we will see a exception to this rule in a few slides. But public members can be accessed by anyone. Alright. So, how data hiding works with inheritance. Well, in C++, you can, other than declaring whether or not your data members and data methods are private, protected, or public, actually inside of the class itself, the base class, you can actually specify how you want it to be inherited. You can actually inherit it publicly, you can inherit it protected, or you can inherit it privately. Now when you do this, it takes the more strict restriction. So as you can see here, if something is declared public inside of our base class and we inherit publicly, nothing changes, and it won't. Whether this would be public, private, or protected, it would be the same as inherited. So if you want to leave your restrictions from the base class intact and you want them to be the same in the derived class, then you would just inherit publicly. But if you inherit protected and you have a public data member or data method inside of your base class, when it's inherited, it will turn into a protected data member or method. So it'll still be public in the base class, but in the derived class it will be protected. And of course, if you inherit privately and there is a public data member or method in your base class, it will be private in the derived class. So it takes the more strict restriction when you inherit, when you specify how you want it to be inherited. But remember, it does not affect the base class. It only affects the derived class. And I know that might sound a bit confusing, but once we put it and write it in code, it will become pretty clear. So unlike some object-oriented programming languages, C++ does allow multiple inheritance. And it can be very useful, but it can also be a bit of a pain, and it can get very unmanageable if you're not careful. So what I have here is known as the dreaded diamond. So let's say we have this base class and we declare int get, a method, and then these two classes here inherit that method from this class, and then this class inherits from these two classes. So then when you come down here and call get, which one is it going to take? See, that's where the issue comes up. Now, there are ways to fix this by specifically telling it which one you want to get that from, get that particular method or data member from, but it is best to just try to avoid it in the first place. So, friend classes are a little bit strange. They kind of create a loophole in our access restrictions. So if a class says that another class is a friend class, so if this class says that this class is a friend class, then this class can actually access this class's private data. But it is not reciprocal. So this class cannot access this class's private data, but this class can access this class's private data. So that's kind of the exception to the access restriction rules. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's kind of, the basics of inheritance in a nutshell. If you don't get it at this point, don't worry. When we start writing the code, I can pretty much promise you that it'll all click. So if you like this video, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you've watched a few of my videos and you really like them, go ahead and subscribe so you can keep up to date on when we post more. And if you would like to ask any questions, the best way to get to us would probably be Twitter. You can follow us at cODeAclysm. I would like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.